Hello my friends and welcome to my small but cozy corner of YouTube. Today I create with stamps from Aall And Create. They are from Sari Stamping Studio and linked in the description box below. I have this die set from Art By Marlene that cuts out all I need to make a small art journal, and we will do the cover and a couple of pages together. I cut out only a cover since I have pages left from another project. My die cutting plates aren't long enough to cut the whole cover at once, but I cut half and move the plates so I can cut the rest when I run it through the second time. And here is the cover with holes for a stretchy thread to go through, but I want something more and choose another die from the set to cut a pattern in my front cover. To color both sides of the cover, I want to do ink smooshing, and I choose crisp, light colors because I want this journal to be a Christmas, but also a winter mini journal. I smoosh with Distress Oxide inks first in tumbled glass. I dry in between every layer so the colors don't blend, and I continue with cracked pistachio and shaded lilac. I want a Christmas/winter journal so I can add pages after Christmas, because where I live, we have many months to spring. I smoosh my ink pads on my glass mat, spray with water, run my finger through to break up the squares of ink and smoosh my paper in the ink. I use thick watercolor cardstock because the paper have to hold up through ink, water and heat many times. When I dry the paper and slow down my smooshing, you can see how lovely the inks layer on each other, and here and there I use a fan brush to make tiny splatters as well. While my cover dries, I do some stamping with these cute trees. I stamp one in VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink and heat emboss with Wow's Clear Matte Dull Embossing Powder. I use the matte powder to get the raised edges but less shine, but any clear powder does the trick. I also stamp the other tree. I only want parts of it so I don't feel the need to heat emboss. Now let's decorate the front cover. I put a paper in between so I won't stamp through the cutout, and I bring out this text and square stamp. Before I stamp it straight over my cover, I place my trees where I want them and stamp with VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink and cover the stamping on the trees in that clear matte dull embossing powder. When the trees are stamped, I stamp again over the whole cover and cover it with the same embossing powder. I melt the powder with my heat tool on both the cover and the trees. When all the powder is melted, I try out the placing. I want the trees to fit the cover like a puzzle, so the pattern continues uninterrupted. Now, let's put the color on the page going inside my journal. I'm doing ink smooshing again, but this time I went with similar but darker colors. I used Salty Ocean and two new colors that I love. Salvage Patina, which is a light turquoise color, and Villainous Potion, that is a dark purple. I do the same procedure. I smoosh and dry and smoosh again until I'm happy, but I also use a fan brush to make tiny splatters. When I'm done with one side, I bring out a blending brush and go around the smooshed page with Salty Ocean to give it a darker frame. On the other side, I use the same colors of Distress Oxide inks, but this time I ink blend the colors randomly. And when I was about to finish up, my kids wanted lemonade, so I turned the camera off and gave them lemonade, and I forgot to turn it on until I was finished. But I did the same as I always do. I went back and forth until I had a smooth blend. Next, I do the same with the cover, but I use shaded lilac instead when I frame my cover. And then I use a paper towel to buff off any ink still on the black embossing. Now here are the pages and backgrounds we are working with. I'm coloring the trees for the front cover with Distressinks, and I cut out the pieces I wanted from that second tree, a star and two tree trunks. I color the star with mustard seed, and the tree trunks are colored with frayed burlap and ground espresso for shadows. For the trees I used cracked pistachio to tie them in to the background and pine needle to make shadows before I blend it all out with cracked pistachio again. Before I attach my trees to the front cover, I bring out archival black soot to darken the edges further. I put foam squares on the back of the small tree, and since that tree will be seen through the cutout, I colored both sides of the tree. I glue the other tree with a thinner foam tape, and then I attach both trees before I add the tree trunks and the star. Next, I stamp lots and lots of both trees, along with many ornaments. What I'm showing you is only the tip of the tree and ornament iceberg. I color the many trees the same way as before, and you can see how many they are. Then I color the ornaments. The round ornaments are colored with festive berries, and I blend that red color out with the light pink Kitsch Flamingo. The other ornaments are colored with cracked pistachio again and Mermaid Lagoon. I am carefully introducing new colors, but mostly keeping to the base colors I chose. Next, I am putting a stretchy string through the holes in the cover and tying a knot over the first page. I bring out that die that made the cutout on the cover again and cut out the same pattern in a piece of scrap paper. I line the patterns up and attach the scrap piece with clips. Then I use Villainous Potion and ink blend it over the homemade stencil. I leave the stencil on and use a clear Nouveau Glimmer paste to enhance the stenciling. Now it's time to stamp these 3 super adorable stamp sets. I start with the girl, the birds and the holly berries, and I stamp a load of birds and holly berries. Then I stamp the 2 cute girls in Christmas tree costumes before I stamp the fox, his wagon of gifts and his hat. So let's color my images, and thankfully I will only show you the holly berries and the birds once. For the berries I used festive berries and kitsch flamingo, and for the leaves cracked pistachio and pine needle. For the birds I used festive berries and kitsch flamingo again and on one, and mermaid lagoon on the second. I take out that ink-blended page as well as a stencil with snowflakes. I position the stencil over the page and bring out my spray bottle with water and perfect pearl powder mixed. I spray over the stencil, let the water react with the ink and pick up color with a paper towel. And I do that on both sides. And when I dry these pages, the snowflakes become visible. It's now time to color the other images with Distress Oxide inks, starting with this girl in her winter outfit. I used cracked pistachio and pine needle on her hat, cape and coat, and for her dress and leggings I used festive berries and kitsch flamingo. I used that red-pink combo on her flower eye as well, and for her skin and the other girls' faces, I used my Prima Complexion watercolor palette. I used a gold color from the Complexion palette on her strands of hair. I'm keeping to the same colors on the other images. The girl and her Christmas tree hat is colored with the same green combo as before, cracked pistachio and pine needle, and the same red-pink combo for her pajamas, festive berries and kitsch flamingo. For the girl in the tree costume, I added mowed lawn green so she can stand out from the other trees. For the wagon with gifts, I used frayed burlap and ground espresso, and for the gifts I used the green, red and pink colors from before. For the lighter part of the fox's face, I used tea dye, and for the darker part, rusty hinge and crackling campfire. For his outfit, I used the same base colors that I've used throughout this project. Before I start decorating the inside of the cover, I bring out shaded lilac and blend it in around the edges to frame my images. Next, I start gluing down all those trees. I make them short and tall, and with or without tree trunks, and I let them hang off the edge, so the scene looks like it is continuing off the cover. And as before, I colored both sides of the tree peeking out through the cutout. Next, I glue down those scrawny trees in front of the other trees, and then I get going with an unreasonable amount of ornaments, birds, and holly berries. Now this art journal cover is all done, but we have pages coming up next. I cut some snow banks for the middle spread and I glue them down so we have a hill coming down from the right. Next I glue down the fox and his wagon of gifts. I glue down a few trees in the middle and cut one apart so the journal closes better. Then I glue down the Christmas tree girl and her friend with a winter outfit. And of course the Christmas tree girl is peeking out from behind the trees. I glue down the girl with a Christmas hat also hiding among the trees, perhaps to surprise the fox. Last on these pages I glue down some birds. God knows I have a lot. I would be done, but I want to do the first page just to feel right, so I glue down some leftover trees and some ornaments, and since I have so many ornaments, I hang a row of them from the top of the page. At this point I am almost done and the journal works, but I want to finish with some sentiments. I take the joy, love, peace, believe and Christmas stamp and stamp it in the middle of the stenciling with Versamark embossing ink and heat emboss with Wow's gold superfine embossing powder. Then I take a sentiment that says it's the most wonderful time of the year and I stamp it on the snowbank in VersaFine Clear Monarch ink, which is purple and matches perfectly. As a last detail, I bring out a bluish-grey uhuhu marker and the colorless blender, and I go over the snowbanks to define them and add a little shadow, and I blend it out with the blender. And now, this mixed media mini art journaling project is on its way, and I hope you will pop by soon again for more. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, happy holidays!